We are live with the Short Term Rental Pros podcast. I'm here today with my guy, Assaf, who is a founder of a really exciting company in the short-term rental space, one that I personally use. I use at multiple different properties in multiple different locations. So I'm really excited to have him on today. Assaf, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks, Jeremy. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you. So Assaf is founder of Turno, and what they do, and if I butcher any of this, I want you to correct me, is they help make the process of finding short-term rental cleaners as easy as possible. I'm sure you've probably heard this or said this before, but frankly, you guys are kind of like the Airbnb of Airbnb cleaners. They're kind of funky where you go in, you can see the cleaners reviews. So you can select a cleaner based off the comments of hosts and their reviews, the same way that if you're selecting a house, you check its reviews out. So in many ways, they've made it about as easy as possible to find reliable and trusted cleaning help. So Assaf, tell us about, the platform and what got you into doing this.
Oh, thanks for the intro, Jeremy. So, everything you said is true, but after you find your cleaner on Turno, we also help you manage that cleaner going forward. So every time you get a reservation, we automatically create a project for your cleaner. You can create checklists. They can work against those checklists, upload pictures, you have an in-app chat. They can report problems. They can automatically get paid through Turno. We handle their taxes. So it really is hands off and, kind of gives you back a lot of that time that you're putting into this. But
how did this, first of all, when did you guys start? I think I've probably been using y'all since I think 2021 or 2020. When did you get where did this idea come from and when?
So I was hosting on Airbnb. It was 2016. It was kind of still kind of early in the game, and having the hardest time managing cleaners. Imagine I get a reservation. It's like checkout is on Tuesday. It's like 2 weeks before the reservation. I text my cleaner, hey, like in 2 weeks from now, can you come on Tuesday? And then silence. Like, oh man, I don't know if she's going to do it. Not going to do it. Let me call this other girl I'm working with. Hey, can you come on Tuesday? And then they're like, oh yeah, sure. I'll come Tuesday. And then the first one responds, sure, I'll come Tuesday. Like, sorry. I already gave it to someone else. And then what do you know? The next day, the guest changes the reservation and now checkout is on Wednesday. And then you have to go through all this again and again and again. You don't know if they're going to do it. You don't know when they started, when they finished, how they did it. It was just too much stress. Honestly, it was more than the time. It was just the stress and the uncertainty that was taking what I thought was a passive investment and making it into a source of stress and anxiety.
And that's what we don't like in the short-term rental world is stress and anxiety. That is what we want to minimize. So you had this idea. You said, you had this problem. When did it go from, hey, this is a problem that I think is a massive problem, a problem at scale. Also, before we went live, we were kind of going back and forth about startup stuff. And further, doing a partnership with BNBCalc, which I'll dive into a little bit, but they've got some cool API stuff going on. So we're gonna try to see how we can integrate them into our property analysis, and where people can estimate cleaning costs more based off what cleaners are actually charging in that area, which is really cool. But I digress. So yeah, this was a problem you had, but when was it hey, I'm not the only one, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to solve this for everybody?
Yeah. So I'm at the time, I'm a software engineer. So I'm building apps. I know what I'm doing. So I'm like, I'll just build a little app. How hard could that be?
You guys aren't watching this. He is in Honolulu, Hawaii. I should have asked. So he's coding apparently, but it seems like based off his pigmentation, that you're also enjoying the beach a little bit too.
Correctly, yeah. Honolulu at the time, it was a really great, thriving STR market. Not so much now because of regulation. And I built an app. I made it free for people to use. Got a lot of feedback, and realized there was an opportunity there. And maybe a year later, got our first paying customer. So it was a lot of work, a lot of upfront work to get this going. But it seems like it's a common problem for a lot of people. Super stressful to do this on your own. You really shouldn't be doing this on your own. If you have just one property and you're listening, just so you know, that Turno is completely free. If you have one property, even if you have your existing cleaners, you can invite them to Turno and you can work with them on Turno and save all this anxiety and stress that goes along with managing turnovers.
Okay, so you saw the problem set. You created an MVP. I'm assuming you started in one local market. You didn't try to serve the entire world initially. Did you just serve Hawaii initially, or what? How did that work? How'd you get that first customer?
Initially, it was not a marketplace. Initially, it was just like an app to manage short-term rental turnovers. That's what it was.
That's why it's called Turno.
So our original name was Turnover BNB, kind of like BNBCalc. Very descriptive name that exactly describes what you're doing, not more, not less. And it was just a tool to manage the process. It was only later that we've added the marketplace component, which really took off and made Turno very unique.
Got it. So was that you when we were talking offline, you mentioned, going to investors initially and telling them like how big of a market this was. When you initially went and when you had that first customer, is that when you went out to investors and you were like, hey, I think we're on to something here. It's really challenging to manage these turnovers? Or when did when did you scale from one, and what was the instrumental aspects for turning this into a legit business?
So one customer really wasn't when you go to investor.
Totally.
And to be honest, I'm a product guy. I like building things, like solving problems, but raising funds isn't my forte. I don't really have it in me to kind of exaggerate and kind of
Turno is the next Amazon.
Right. I don't have it in me to exaggerate. I'm like, yeah, here, this is the story. These are the numbers. This is what we're doing. Do you like it? I'm not a huge.
I'm a smart guy. We can build it's not going to cost us $1 million a month to build our tech out. We'll build it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. So for us, first there was success. Then there was fundraising. We were growing really well. We were hitting really good numbers, and we were actually getting inbound requests from investors. Like, oh, I'm seeing the app. I have friends who are using it. What's the deal? What's the story? Can we talk? It wasn't us going knocking on doors, saying, hey, do you want to invest? Which is a lot easier. People come to you. It's a lot easier than when you go to them. And so for us, we built a good product. People were using it, talking about it. And then people came knocking, and it was a lot easier.
Got it. So 2016, 2017 was building that MVP. Can you just walk us through the timeline? As I know we don't have too much time to give 7-8 years of history all that it deserves, but walk us through the customer, or walk us through your journey, your product journey, your company, your team, and 2016 to today.
So end of 2016, the idea is planted, and we register our Delaware Corp. 2017, building, experimenting with MVP, launching a product that helps just with the management and the scheduling. End of 2017, I think we registered like our first revenue, which is like 35 cents or something like that.
And you were W-2 at this time? Were you eating, top ramen and tofu?
So I'm in business school.
Oh, okay.
I'm in business
school. Where'd you, Hawaii Business School?
Yeah. So University of Hawaii, Scheidler College of Business. I'm doing my MBA. Also, my co-founder, Tim, is with me with the MBA program.
Gotcha. And yeah, don't mind my most people are listening here. So guys, for you watching, my camera for whatever reason went out, but we're gonna keep rolling here. So you're in business school, you're getting your MBA, and then
this at the same time. When you are in your MBA, what is your biggest cost?
Your right? Time, I'm assuming,
or your opportunity cost. Right, you're not working. So for me, it's a great time. I'm doing my MBA. I'm also going to work on this business at the same time, kind of making sure that, if I'm going to spend time away from work, that I'm going to make it valuable. Both getting
you're going to take a risk. I'm assuming it was kind of more of a risk. Okay, so you did this while in business school, and then I guess was there a point when you were done with business school where you're like, I have to decide if I want to do this full time or if I go get a job?
Exactly. So I graduated business school. I keep working on it. I was also consulting and kind of doing like side projects just to, keep the lights on. And then as revenue becomes a little more substantial, then I go full time. And then, once we had more investor money coming in, it's usually, it was like small investments at the time. So it wasn't like, one of those Bay Area kind of $50 million checks you get, if we were doing it the hard way. And, it was slow going initially, but, you pick up momentum as you go.
Got it. And what did that momentum, like, I guess, can you share the metrics? Like, do you have any, what metrics can you share? Like how many cleaners or how many hosts do you have on board or just like, give me some numbers.
Let me give you some numbers. I'm not going to give you exactly what you asked for.
It's okay. I don't ever get exactly what I asked for, so it's fine.
But we are doing millions of projects a year. So millions of guest turnovers per year.
Millions. Okay. So millions a year. And then how does it, so if I'm a cleaner or I'm a host, how do I do it? Like what, I guess I want to hear both sides. I don't think many cleaners listen to this podcast. Or if you do, you should, or yeah, exactly. You're in the right place because Assaf's got something for you. So let's start with the host first, and then, walk us through what that journey looks like.
So I'm a fictional host. Let's say my name is Jeremy. I live in Brooklyn. Got a couple of properties in New York, couple in Vermont, couple in North Carolina, or just one. So I go to Turno. I connect my Airbnb account, or if I have a PMS, I connect my PMS. So now Turno knows about your reservations. You go ahead, you invite the cleaners you already are working with. And then every time you get a reservation, we send your cleaners, hey, you got a cleaning project on this day or this date. And these are the things you have to do based on the checklist that Jeremy created. When it's time to clean, they use their mobile app. They say, hey, I'm starting this clean. I'm following this checklist. I'm uploading these pictures. I see a problem. I click on a report a problem button. I let Jeremy know that, the water heater is not working, that the Wi-Fi is not working, that all these problems. Hopefully, none of them.
The things that give us anxiety.
Yeah, so you're always in the know, right? Like, when they started, when they finished. We automatically pay them. We debit your account, we pay them. At the end of the year, we issue a 1099. It's really super easy for you, Jeremy. And then let's say that you add a new property and you need to find a cleaner. So you go into our find a cleaner section, our marketplace, and you do a search. And then all those cleaners in that area get notified. Hey, there's an opportunity to work with Jeremy. He has a property in this address. He does about 7 turns every month. It's 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. And then they give you their best price. You get a list of, it really depends on the area, 5 offers, 10 offers, 20 offers. And then you can judge which one works best for you in terms of, the price obviously is important, but then also the reviews that other hosts in the area have left those cleaners and the guests, right? So when someone checks out of Airbnb, they leave a cleaning review as in their general review. So if they give the cleaner a 5-star review, 4-star review, that's important. So how guests like them, how hosts like them, and like how many projects have they done on Turno.
Got it. 2 questions. So when did the marketplace come? Because that, in this podcast, we're trying to help short-term rental hosts, but I, admittedly have kind of a, startup fascination. So I'm curious, when did it come from managing turnover? So like those pictures you said, any reports on issues that may have happened. So when did it kind of go from that? Because I'm not familiar with that's a feature, but I'm familiar more with the marketplace. So when did that aspect come?
Right. So first it was a management app, then it turned into a marketplace. It was fairly early on. It was 2018, and the idea came to me because I was I was actually pretty heavily involved with this other project that was a marketplace for pickup trucks. So if you had like a heavy item, if you had a heavy item to move, let's say you bought a new like living room set in Costco, and how am I going to put this living room set in my Volkswagen Golf? Like it just doesn't fit, right? How am I going to get it home? So you can either call a moving company or whatever, or you can go on this app and you can get a pickup truck to come and take this thing, bring it to your home, and then you pay them by the minute. Really great app. You should check it out if it's in your area. It's called GoShare.
Wait, so you're telling me you got 2 startups and companies going at the same time?
No, I'm not involved with them anymore. But
I like how Assaf's like, I actually started Apple. Meanwhile, I was doing Turno at the same time. You may have heard of it.
So this is where I kind of got the inspiration for a marketplace, and there's a lot of power in that. Because it's not just like screens; it's that it actually connects you to people who can help do things in the real world, right? That's really powerful.
I love that, and that is what I personally do love, especially I would say during COVID back in 2020. For me, I initially started with boat rental business, and then through that, largely grew out like an Airbnb portfolio. But that's what was cool to me was like, wow, this is like real world stuff. Like these are real experiences. Ultimately, like that's what I was in the business of, creating real world experiences and making stuff happen. So to me, like tech enabled or tech products that make stuff happen in the real world are cool. Like, sure, like Zapier is cool. It makes, automate data workflow. You get an email and then that email might, make your Alexa go off or something. Like that's cool. But what you're doing is you're actually connecting people, like ultimately, which is really, really neat. And definitely, I definitely had, a very unique use case, one that is very valuable to me personally. So kudos. And I applaud you for that. So back to my second question. which was, I know before I said I have two questions, and I asked the first one, and then we went going for a while. But my second question is, now you're a cleaner, so you're the host. Now you're the cleaner. Why do you use Turno? What's in it for you?
Okay. So if you're a cleaner, you go to Turno, say I'm a cleaner, you sign up. You can invite the people that you're working with right now to collaborate, right? So it could be that the cleaner that you work with invites you and says, "Hey, Jeremy, I'm using Turno to schedule my cleans." And if you use Turno as well, then all your projects would just flow to me automatically. We don't have to do this song and dance of like you letting me know when I have to go and sharing like an Excel sheet with me, whatever. It just shifts all the burden away from you, right? So we have a lot of cleaners that sign up, they invite their customers, and then they just get the projects flowing into them. They're able to deliver a really great service experience. And what we also let them do is add more customers to their book of business, right? Let's say that you're a cleaner in some resort area. You list yourself on Turno, like, hey, I have a cleaning business, and these are my rates for these property sizes. And then as they get booked more and more and get consistent 5-star reviews, they get to kind of dominate the search results, right? So if you think of a bit, an Airbnb listing that is dominating the search results in their area because they have really good, favorable guest reviews, like they're going to build a great business off of it.
Yeah, and then for whatever, I don't need to get into ranting about Airbnb SEO or the listing goes bye for a little bit here or there. But okay, so being good and getting good reviews rewards you, which is great. That's amazing.
And then they're also able to kind of charge slightly higher prices, right? If you see, hey, listen, I've done 1,000 projects, I have 25 awesome reviews, I'm consistent, I'm reliable, and the data shows it. So I can charge a little more, and that's okay. Versus someone who is like, hey, I haven't done anything yet. Take a chance with me, right? So they can come in a little lower.
And one, I guess this isn't a complaint. This is constructive feedback, or just me as an actual user. Again, guys, I disclaim I have people on here whose products I actually frankly use. So sometimes what I see is that, let's say I have a house that's like we do things to make our cleanings like as easy as possible. For example, we have 2 washers and dryers in our big houses. The reason we do that is because we know that essentially when you have a big property or even any property, the thing that's going to take the most time is drying the linens. So we have 2 washers and dryers, but the cleaners don't know that, when you put it out a request. So let's say they see like 7-bedroom house. They're going to say, I don't blame them. If I saw a 7-bedroom house, I'd be like $400, $350. When, if I was when actually, it's going to take them half as long as they thought it was going to take. So yeah, I guess, is that something you've heard before when you just are only able to put in like the bedrooms, bathrooms?
So it's not the end, right? If someone bids, let's say $400, which, I think for a 7-bedroom, it's decent. But let's say someone bids $400 and you can still message them and be like, hey, I saw your bid. I understand why you think that makes sense, but I actually have, an extra set of washer dryers. So you're going to have to spend less time there waiting for the laundry. Would you mind lowering your bid a little bit? And then they have an option to do it, right? We can't capture everything perfectly. So we still give people the opportunity to communicate.
Okay, that makes sense. So essentially, and admittedly at this point, I have my team do the Turno requests. So they just send me, they send me screenshots of the things, and I'm like, go with this person, or go with this one. So now I got to be like, all right, let's see if there's a little bit of wiggle room, because guys, your cleaning margins are super important. I mean, first of all, you need cleaners to do a good job, because when they do a great job and you get 5-star reviews, that ultimately leads to more revenue. But there's definitely you can't have it be so high, the cleaning cost, that it kills your margins. So essentially, what you're saying is there's wiggle. You can negotiate through the platform.
Sometimes there's wiggle room, but I'll tell you this much: Turno is the one place where you can get probably the lowest sustainable prices. So there's
sustainable. What's sustainability?
No, so like for example, that when you go to Costco, whatever you see there is the cheapest you're ever going to find it on a sustainable level, right? Like you might be able to find a store here and there that's going out of business, maybe
has a discount last minute or something.
But when you go to Costco, that this is the price they're giving you is a good price. They're making a little bit of money, but this is a good price. And the same thing with Turno. Like the cleaners, they're bidding against everyone else in their area, right? So this is the lowest they'll bid, they'll go, but they're still willing to get out of the house for that.
Got it. Okay, so we have a capitalistic situation going on. So you've applied capitalism to short-term rental cleaning. And what were do you have like people, I guess, what are some like success stories you got where, someone, I don't know, is there a number of properties, or just like, how has this helped people?
Okay. I love that question. I was just looking the other day, looking through our database. I'm a big data guy. I look at our database. I do all kinds of queries and stuff like that. It's like,
did you check me out before? Did you did you go in and let's check out Jeremy, see what he's doing?
I did.
I think I have a couple accounts, honestly.
Let's look at kind of the top grossing cleaners, and just see kind of the scale of it. I was like, let's see all the cleaners that have made it over $200,000. And it was a very, very long list of cleaners in there.
$200,000?
Yeah, and there's one that is like almost at $1 million.
Whoa. And I would assume they're doing, they get the job, but then they make sure that the people who, at that point, I'm assuming you're subcontracting, or I would hope, honestly.
Yes.
Otherwise,
they manage usually small teams of cleaners, but they've built a reputation on Turno. Like I said, you see their bid coming up top of the page because they have done thousands of projects. They have hundreds of positive reviews, and they're able to charge a little more because of the confidence they give you.
And they're probably in an urban environment where there's a lot of volume going through.
Yeah, so we've made a lot of people a lot of money, and that makes me really happy.
Yeah, no, that's what we're here for. Let's empower people, and so those people, would you consider them? I mean, in a way, they're kind of like they're contractors for you technically. You said you deal with 1099s earlier, which in a way makes, they're not my contractor technically in the eyes of capitalism and the IRS. Technically, they're your contractor. So do you feel like kind of these folk, the cleaners, are in a way like your employees and you are empowering them?
They're not my employees.
Well, they're your contractor.
Right. In the same way that you are not an Airbnb employee, right?
True. Fair enough.
You have a business that you run, and you list your property on Airbnb, and you raise and lower your prices, and you work on your reviews and improving it. Like Airbnb provides the arena, and you play in it. In the same way, we build an arena and people play in it, and they hire their people, or that they work alone. They raise their prices, they lower their prices. They don't have to do anything they don't want to do. So they're absolutely not our employees.
Got it. Well, my whole point was like, do you feel like your mission at Turno is part, empowering these cleaners who I don't even know how they got customers prior to you. I mean, maybe they show up on Google or word of mouth. I guess like what beyond like having a successful company, like what gets you excited when you wake up and go to work?
That gets me excited. Just knowing that there's just all these families where, the primary way they pay their bills is like working on Turno projects. It's just like, it's mind blowing to feel that you're making a lot of lives possible through this platform. So that really is provides me with a lot of energy. But also on the host side, right? I mean, I think a lot of entrepreneurs are building their businesses based not just Turno, but a lot of other kind of tech stack blocks. But we're helping them kind of run a side business or a main business, and empower them to grow. A lot of our customers start with one property, and then they realize, man, this is not that hard if I just do it right. If I automate things the right way and I use the right platforms, I can add another property. And we see,
and then you keep going. You don't stop. You get addicted to it. And next thing you know, you're at 25, and then it's like, all right, well, at a certain point, you hit a certain number where you're like, it's even beyond softwares at this point. Turno, property management softwares, pricing softwares. But then at a certain point, it's like, oh, I don't need to hire cleaners. I need to hire like team members myself that are the ones who help, communicate with the cleaners. So I guess, what is like, so you have a cleaner who's made $1 million or cleaning service. Close to $1 million. I mean, do you have a stat of like a host who's has like 197 properties or any data point you can share there? Yeah,
I've worked with a lot of, ever since 2017, 2016, with people who started with a handful. And now I see that I look at their account every now and then, there's like 200 properties in there. And it's just like incredible. And I've met some of them in person, when you go to conferences and things like, and they're telling me, I couldn't have done this without you, without Turno. Like this would have been impossible to do otherwise. And that just gives you like, oh man, this feels good, right? This feels good to be able to help people build, a dream. I mean, real estate is the American dream. Owning property, it's like playing Monopoly.
As we sit here in our respective cities with buildings in the background.
Yeah.
So real estate's the dream, but what else? Like what can we be on the lookout for from you moving forward? And like what excites you?
So we want to, when you're running a platform, you need to make sure that everyone is happy on both ends. So we have a lot of cool features coming to make cleaners' life easier. We have some that are to make host life easier. Our kind of general goal is to help you beyond cleaning, with maintenance and other services that you need to run your properties, to the point where you can, buy a property, go in BNBCalc, find the best performing property anywhere in the country, buy it, and just get all the services you need through Turno to operate it.
Okay, and what is your guys' pricing model? What's the pricing, and how many is there? You need to have X number of listings or something like that.
Sure. So in order to use our software, with your existing team, let's say they already work with a cleaning company, already work with individual cleaners, then if you have just one property, it's completely free, no charge. If you have more than one property, then it is $8 a month or $6 a month annually. We connect with all the property management software out there. We connect with Airbnb, with Vrbo, with everyone. Now, if you want to find the cleaner through Turno, then you don't have to pay any subscription fees. You go, you search for a cleaner, you find them, and then there is a transaction fee. It's 5%. We deliberately have like a very low markup. We want to be the Costco of things, where you get a really good price consistently, and get really good value. So really, just 5% on top of the cleaning cost, and then you get all the features and the software included in that. So it's automatic scheduling, automatic payments, checklists, photos, chat, problem reporting, 1099s. So it's all included in that price. So, for example, if you find someone and it's a $50 project, then we would charge you $52.50 for that project.
Yeah, I believe I think you guys accept credit card too. If I have to,
so we do ACH,
which is less expensive than the credit card.
ACH is less expensive, and that's the 5%. If you want to use a credit card, there's a convenience fee. It's like a little more.
Got it. Okay, so just add the convenience fee. It's not a different fee or a fee. 5%. Okay, cool. So folks, they just come in. They can just plug in their PMS system. Select the one that they want to get bids for, and it's really kind of like that simple to get started with you.
Yeah, it's that simple. And if you're managing multiple properties and you're using one of the following PMSs, then there's actually no software charge at all. It's already included in what you're paying your PMS. And the list of those PMSs are Hospitable.
Let's go. All right. I didn't know this one coming in here.
Hostfully. Guesty for hosts. Uplisting. Journey. And I might be forgetting one.
I like how you said hospitable first, because I was going to be like, oh, it's going to be like suspenseful for me. Like, are you going to say, because I use Hospitable, and I was with Miles, their like CMO, and Assaf was also in Nashville, but I went over to his booth because we have this podcast coming up to say hi, and he wasn't there. He was running around. As was I pretty much the entire time. There was a lot of people. It was a lot of fun. And by the way, guys, I just got back from Nashville. I think actually people came up. That was like the first time since I've started the podcast. Actually, second time. I went to STR Nation where people came up to me and, said they'd been listening, which was really, really cool. So having at STR Wealth, and, I asked folk, I was like, what do you like? What do you not like about the podcast? Tried to get as much feedback, and anyone listening, give me feedback. Like, send me an Instagram DM, LinkedIn, wherever you find me. Cause I want to make this, fun, and informative. And what I heard from people was that I keep it real. I don't try to like sugarcoat things, and I talk about the logistics, like, kind of the not, I don't want to say negative, but like the less glorifying aspects of this game. And yeah, one of those is making sure your cleaners are good. Frankly, that is one of the things that's important. Like, if they're not sending you pictures, at the bare minimum, and it's hard sometimes to convince them to even send you pictures. It seems like Assaf, it seems like if they use Turno, it's a given. They just, in order to like submit the cleaning, they have to submit photos.
So here's a cool thing. So let's say that you're using you already have cleaners, but it's harder for you to get compliance in terms of the things you want them to do. Bring them to Turno and set up your payments so that you pay them through Turno. Now, in order to complete a project, there's all these prerequisites, like upload these pictures, track this inventory, So
you have to. There's no choice, or you can't just skip. There's no skip button.
Get paid, you need to follow these steps. So there's nothing like payment to incentivize people to do what they need to do.
Gotcha. And that's, I mean, I'm just, the fact that you guys are already baked in the hospitable, that's amazing. That is so, I'm sure that was kind of a cool negotiation on your end, in order to get onto the PMSs, not only because you're a partner on the PMSs and you're synced. Like if you go to the API connections through hospitable, you're there. But I wasn't even aware that, is that kind of something you're working on, is partnering with a bunch of PMSs, so make it as like frictionless as possible for the end user?
Yeah, so the two products are bundled. So when you're using hospitable, you get free access to Turno. I love all my PMS partners.
That's awesome, guys. That's you're on the channels, because they're called channel managers too. So awesome. So what is the last question I like to ask is, what is your pro tip for those listening to succeed in this game in 2024?
So I just heard a great pro tip from you, which is have 2 sets of washing machines and dryers. And I'm going to implement that. But
where are your properties too? Just quickly. Yeah. Well, I know you have the awesome software, but yeah, tell us, what's your portfolio like as well?
Yeah. So I've had a little bit of a regulation issue, and so right now I'm not actively hosting. But pro tip is bonuses. So I would say whenever you get a 5-star review, especially a cleaning review, bonus your cleaner $20. I don't know how big your property is and what your budget is, but $20, $25, $50 to make sure that people are incentivized to really go the extra mile. Big believer in incentives, and I think this is a great way to keep everyone hustling. So bonuses.
I agree. That's a really good one. And kind of go back on the point with the 2 washer dryers. Like, you want to make your cleaners' lives easy for them, because if your property like takes too long, or maybe like they have to bring their vacuum or something, like they don't, they're going to charge you a higher rate, or if they have enough customers, they might just say, hey, sorry, this like isn't working out for us anymore. So when you find a good cleaner, you should ask them like, hey, is there anything I can do to make things easier for you? And that what that might lead to is like quicker turnaround, so you can have earlier check-in or later checkout. So my point was 2 washer and dryers. Don't be like, yes, that might be in a way for you, but really like making your cleaners' lives easy only helps you. So I don't know if you agree or disagree there.
Absolutely. This is a really great tip.
Cool. So where can folk, if they want to also follow your entrepreneurial journey, where can they follow you, connect with you, and on
LinkedIn, and you can just connect with me and we can chat. I'm not such a big deal. I still have enough time in the day to talk to anyone.
Hey.
And then we have a special offer to the listening of this podcast. So if you go to turno.com/SDRpros, you can get a special discount on your first cleaning projects with Turno.
Got it. You guys heard it here. So it is turno.com/STRpros.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Put that link in right now. Get going. Add your properties. If you are on one of the PMSs that he mentioned, there's literally no reason not to. You only have something to gain, and it's apparently at no cost at all. So get your cleaners onto there ASAP, Rocky. Assaf, thank you so much for coming today.
Absolutely, Jeremy. I have a feeling we'll be talking again soon.
Oh yeah. This is a start. I'm sad we didn't meet in person, but this is the next best thing. And I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode of the Short Term Rental Pros podcast.